Hey guys, it's Leucia, songwriter-producer, here in the studio again. Hopefully today we're going to impart some wisdom and share a couple of tips that'll help you in either your everyday sessions or the next album you're working on. So you guys know me very much as a bit of a geek and a nerd. I love talking about gear, I love talking about technical stuff and the science and the physics behind things. And I do get very nerdy about the psychology of things as well. But I just wanted to also delve into something a little bit more feelsy, a bit more emotional today, because I think that's probably the most important thing to keep in mind. We are doing this as art after all. We're not here just to talk about numbers. Today's topic is what was probably the most emotional moment for me in the studio, like something that really stuck with me. And the first emotional moment, or rather this is not so much the most of all time so far, but just I think something that really stood out to me when I was in the studio. I think the first really big impact I had in the studio was hearing music, not even my own, just music that I enjoyed and admired on decent studio speakers. I was at a, unfortunately now closed studio in Sydney, and I was just looking to do some session work. I had been hired to be a keyboardist by this producer to play some parts, and that is a whole story for another day. He was like, oh yeah, so like what are your influences? What are your, what's your background here? And I said, yeah, look, my background's classical. I play a fair bit of jazz, but I listen to a whole bunch of electronic music. I listen to metal, I listen to jazz and all sorts of stuff. And he was like, oh yeah, sweet. Well, look, just to get you in the zone, let's play some music and, then we'll talk about what the artist wants from this session. I think at the time that knowing me, it would have been some Dream Theater track because I was obsessed, and I continue to be, with that band. Yeah, no, absolutely. It would have been the Dance of Eternity or Octavarium, one of like the big, long, super technical time-changey pieces. But up until that point, I'd only ever listened to that stuff with, gas station earbuds. Like really the worst stuff, really not good. And I think when I sat there just listening to this song that I'd ostensibly heard probably hundreds of times, because I was listening and studying the track quite a lot. This wasn't one of those situations where like, oh, I cried, because that wasn't the relationship I had with music, but it really impacted me. I realized this is what it should sound like. This is what it was meant to sound like. And looking back, the guy didn't have, $20,000 speakers in a $400,000 treated room. It was pretty like par for the course. I think even looking around at my studio now, it's probably exceeds what he had at the time. But they were studio monitors, and it was a reasonably well-treated room. And it was the first time I was hearing the song arguably as it had probably been heard to some greater or lesser degree by the artist in their studio. And I think that kind of convinced me that this is where I needed to be, whether it was doing sessions or production or recording, or mixing or whatever else. That's really what sold it to me. I was like, damn, this is it. This is the way things should sound. And I want to be a part of that. So yeah, that was probably like the most trajectory confirming, affirming, or even altering moment for me when I first heard a Dream Theater record on studio monitors in some producer's studio. And I seek to bring that same sort of, I wouldn't say like life-changing moment, but I want to bring that level of enjoyment to anybody who steps into my studio, So yeah, I think I echo that a lot for a lot of my artists. I sort of ask them about their influences, and I'll put on a track and we'll play it in the background while we're chatting and talking about what the song's meant to be, what it's got to have in it. Because I think that really sets the tone for what the session's going to be. And I take that most memorable moment for me when I was first getting started, and I wouldn't expect that of everyone else, but I hope that I bring a little bit of that to their session. With that in mind, I would love to hear what was probably your most memorable or first most memorable moment in a studio, if you've ever had the fortune and privilege to be in one. And if you haven't had one, a moment on the stage or in your own bedroom writing your songs. Like, I want to hear what moved you to be the artist that you are. And after all, what might feel like a really specific, unique experience to you may actually be something that's echoed by somebody else, or maybe you're opening the door in somebody else's mind to that experience that they never could have thought would happen in the first place. So I've shared my little thing. I hope that has brought some level of, empathy of a musical artistic experience to you guys. Standard stuff. If you liked what you saw and heard today, drop the video a like. I'd love to hear your comments and share it with your friends.